Hello YouTube, Redhead Takes here, back with another weekly picks video. Well, last week again, proving that it's almost impossible to pick games well every week, mainly because of the Jaguars beating the fraudulent Cowboys in overtime, the Patriots literally pitching the ball away for a loss to the Raiders, and then the Commies trying to come back, and then that weird illegal formation penalty, and all the controversy with Terry McLaurin and official. But 9-7 last week. Let's see if we can do better this week. I have a good feeling about this week, but I know for a fact that there are games this week that I don't want to pick because I have no idea what's going to happen. So let's get going. First pick of the week, we have Jacksonville versus the Jets. Jets losing in hilarious fashion last week. Had the win, and then they decided to say, oh, we'll let the Lions score on one of the worst plays ever because we can't tackle, and it's just embarrassing what happened. Jacksonville, like I said, coming back in dramatic fashion against the Cowboys. Cowboys are frauds. They really are. I know Jacksonville is getting better and better, but the Cowboys are a fraudulent team for sure. And this game is a really battle of playoff lives. Honestly, if the Jags win this week, they could be in a really good spot to win the division and get a playoff spot. And the Jets need to win for sure. I think if the Jets will lose this week, that might put the pin in the old season this year, but I am going with Jacksonville. Next we have the Buffalo Bills and the Chicago Bears. Bears giving the Eagles lots of trouble last week, and of course ruining my fantasy team in the process because David Montgomery picked last week to go off. And Buffalo winning in dramatic fashion in Buffalo against the Dolphins in the snow. I don't know what the conditions like are going to be in this game, but I'm sure Chicago will give it their all and say like, oh, we're going to win today, and then not win. The Bills are getting better and better. I keep moving up in my power rankings. The only thing keeping them lower is the Eagles, but I think the Bills are the real team to beat in the AFC, to be honest. They just find ways to win, and they do it all the time. But yeah, I'm going with the Bills in this game. It would be poetic justice to see the Bears win. Next we have the Saints and the Browns. I want to pick the Saints in this game, I really do. But being smart, I should probably pick Cleveland. That way, if Cleveland loses, I just get to say the Saints win. But Saints beating the Falcons last week, and I know technically Atlanta still has a chance for the playoffs, but these last couple divisional games for the NFC South this week will decide who wins that god-awful division. Cleveland is just building for next year, hoping to gain momentum for next year. Baltimore just didn't have any offense last week except J.K. Dobbins, who ran all over them. And New Orleans is not a good team. They have a good defense, but they're going to have to pay the piper with the salary, so I'm picking the Browns. Don't feel good about it, but I got to do it. Next, we have the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans. Again, another game. Derrick Henry, I'm out. What a perfect game would have that been for Derrick Henry. Goddamn. But Houston giving the Chiefs all they can handle last week. Tennessee losing to the Chargers, even though they made a touchdown at the end of the game. They just gave them too much time, and then their terrible passing defense just gave up a big play to Mike Williams, and it was over. So I don't know. Tennessee's lost 4 in a row. I know Houston hasn't won for a while either, but Houston has some momentum, but I gotta go with the Titans. The Titans gotta win at some point. And I mean, if they can't win this week, I don't know. Their season, I think, is over. But yeah, Tennessee wins. If not for the Derrick Henry is probably going to have a huge game against them. Next we have the Seattle Seahawks and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs struggling a little last week, but Mahomes was still amazing. Seattle losing on Thursday night to the 49ers, and they never had a chance in that game. The game was not as close as the scoreboard says. Yeah, and Seattle's well on their way out. I'm a Packer fan, so I'm rooting against Seattle in this game, and I think Kansas City is going to have a great game again. I think they should play better than they did last week. I hope so, but yeah, I don't give Seattle much hope to win this game. I think this game could really put a nail in their season. But there still is a couple games left, and as long as the Packers are in it, I guess Seattle's in it too. But yeah. Next we have the Giants and the Vikings. Giants winning last week against the Commies, and Vikings winning in ridiculous fashion against the Colts, literally summoning the powers of darkness to win that game. I remind you Vikings fans that Indy lost Jonathan Taylor on after the first play, so if they had any bit of offense, you never would have won that game. So I know you made that comeback, but having the biggest comeback in NFL history is not necessarily a good thing. It just shows you played a really bad team and then made a lot of mistakes at the end. I mean, you got absolutely trashed by said bad team. Yeah, Giants, I give them a good chance to win. I think Vikings win. I think it'll be a really surprisingly good game this week. But Vikings. Next we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the New England Patriots. Patriots, like I said, losing in ridiculous fashion to the Raiders, and Cincinnati winning against the Buccaneers. Looking poor in the first half, but coming on really strong in the second. That first half was a fluke because Tampa is not that good on offense, and then they showed it in the second half because of all the turnovers they had. New England, and another Ramondre Stevenson hurt last week with an ankle, and then I don't start him this week because I bet he's going to split time, and then no, of course he doesn't split time. He has over 100 rushing yards and a touchdown, and some passing yards too, and it's just fantasy football is hard to predict, but I think Cincinnati wins handily in this game. I don't give New England much of a chance, although I guess as long as you have the hoodie, you have a chance to win, but not this week. It sets up a big matchup next week between Buffalo and Cincinnati. That game is going to be huge. And next we have Detroit and Carolina. Detroit beating the Jets. Carolina losing to the Steelers. Yeah, all that goodwill for Carolina winning their division, I think, ended last week, to be honest. I mean, there's still games left, and there's still only a game behind the Buccaneers, but they did not look good, really good last week. Detroit, their offense is getting better and better. Although at times they were able to move the ball last week, they didn't score too often, but they won in the end, so that's all that matters. I think Detroit wins, and I don't think it's too particularly close. Next we have the Atlanta Falcons and the Baltimore Ravens. A loss this week for the Falcons guarantees the end of the season for them. I don't know about Baltimore. I mean, boy, even with Lamar Jackson this year, their offense does not look great. Now, if they continue to give the ball to J.K. Dobbins, they look much better. But that's no way to run your team in the playoffs, that's for sure. Oh, I mean, I guess it is. If you run well in the playoffs, you're probably going to win more times than that, but I am unsure if Lamar Jackson will play this week. I think reports are that he was supposed to play after 2 weeks, but who knows? Atlanta played well last week against the Saints at the end, but Desmond Ridder still has a lot to go. So I think Baltimore wins simply because I think Lamar just gives them a little bit of a boost. Maybe not too much, but something. Next we have the Washington Commies and the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco is going to win this game, and Washington is not. I'm just going to say that right out there. After last week, Washington did not look great. They came back, or tried to come back towards the end, but alas, it did not happen because of that questionable illegal formation penalty. And San Francisco just dominated Seattle from beginning to end. And the game was not as close as the scoreboard said. Yeah, Washington is not going to win. San Francisco will win. And that's that. San Francisco is just a juggernaut right now. Mainly because their defense and Brock Purdy doesn't make mistakes, Purdy. And next we have the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. More intrigue in this game than there should be. Of course, Jalen Hurts gets hurt, so money says to pick Dallas, but after last week, I'm not so sure. Gardner Minshew is still a definitely reliable quarterback in the league. Dallas looks so good most of the game. And then in the second half, they blow games all the time. Will that happen again this week? Maybe, maybe not. I think it's gonna be really close because for Dallas, this is your chance. I mean, Philly basically won the division already, but if Dallas somehow wins the last couple games and Philly loses all of them, maybe Dallas can still win the division, but I doubt it. I mean, if Dallas loses this game, the division is sealed and Philly wins the division. So, should be a close game, but I'm still going to pick the Eagles. Next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 50th year anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. Las Vegas, like I said, winning in ridiculous fashion last week. Pittsburgh beating Carolina. Pittsburgh, I don't know what to say, to be honest. They look good one week, then they look bad. They look good. They're so hard to predict. They're so hard to get a read on. Las Vegas, again, another team that's hard to get a read on. They didn't deserve to win that game. They were just handed the victory, literally, to be honest. Again, another team that ruined my fantasy hopes last week. Derek Carr, having the worst game of the year and probably of his life, he just goes off. And Devontae Adams didn't even have a good game, so that's even more frustrating. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a decent game, I guess. I'll pick Pittsburgh, I guess, but I don't know how good I feel about it. Next we have the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins. Miami losing at home. Losing in Buffalo to the Bills. Green Bay winning in dominating fashion on Monday night against the Rams. Yeah, I know the Packers haven't played anybody last couple weeks, but I think the Packers have a great chance to upset this week. I really do. And that's not just me being a homer. Their defense has been better of late. Their offense is slowly getting better. It'll take a little bit for Dobbs and Watson to get their chemistry, but Packers have bright futures with wide receivers with those two at the helm. And Miami, their offense is still good. Their defense, not so much. So this game will come down to who wins the turnover battle, to be honest. And I'm probably going to hate myself for doing this, but I'm picking the Packers. Next we have Denver and the Rams. Boy, this game is hard to pick. It Rams losing last week and Denver winning last week against the Cardinals. Boy, I don't know who to pick in this game, to be honest. I don't know if Russell Wilson's going to play this week. The Rams, Baker Mayfield looked woefully terrible last week. So, I don't know if I want to give them the win either. Both teams have decent defenses, so that's what makes it harder to decide which one would win. Boy, it's a real toss-up, to be honest. I think I'll go with the Rams just because Denver is not very consistent when they do win. But honestly, it could go either way. Next we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Arizona Cardinals. Again, another toss-up game. Tampa Bay losing last week to the Bengals, really getting killed in the second half. Arizona losing to the Denver Broncos. They had a chance to win, but after Colt McCoy left with the concussion, the game was over. It was over. They couldn't move the ball after that. So that's one of those picks that's just like, I changed it for no reason. Never should have changed it, but Tampa Bay, their offense was good in the first half, but terrible in the second half. Arizona moved the ball somewhat, but always settling for field goals, so I don't know. I guess I'll pick Tampa Bay just because they have somewhat of a better offense, but again, another toss-up game for sure. And last but not least, we have the Los Angeles Chargers and the Colts. Chargers are going to win this game. If they don't, it'll just be another way they charger. You can always count on the Chargers to charger all the time. Except last week. They nearly did, but they were bailed out by terrible passing defense for the Titans. So, Indy, what else is there to say? Jonathan Taylor is out for the rest of the year. So, that means Indy's not going to win. I mean, their defense played well in the first half, but then, like I said, the powers of Satan, or the powers of the purple incarnation of Satan, win against the Colts. At home, no less. They lost at home. It's just even more embarrassing, but the Chargers win this one, and I don't think it's all that close. Probably going to be a blowout. And there we go. We have my picks for Week 16 of the NFL season. There's some decent games in there for sure, but there's also some real toss-up games and games that I have no idea which way they'll go, but they could really go either way. So, as always, trying to make Rumble bigger, trying to make locals bigger, so check both those sites out. Still don't have a Twitter. We'll see if I get amnestied eventually and let back in. That would be nice. Although, since Elon Musk is banning other website links, who knows? That might not be such a good idea. I might just end up getting banned again right away. But yeah, as always, if you're a football fan and you need help on picks, I'm here. And yeah, as always, have a great day, and God bless.